morning, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and my dear friends. Last time I was here, I took you through the journey of my life. Today, I'll give you a brief glimpse into my love life. Don't worry, keeping the protocols of Toastmasters in mind, I shall try to keep the sex at bay. I know, too bad. Well, it was the summer of 2002, and for the first time, I started to live all by myself. So every Sunday, I would walk down Kemp's Corner. So one such Sunday that I was taking a walk, I noticed the most beautiful, very gorgeous, and extremely hot dress. Yes, it was a dress. And it was love at first sight. The moment I saw the dress, I knew I just have to have it. But the price of the dress was a little steep. So I decided that I will dip into my emergency fund and maybe replace it gradually with the pocket money that I get regularly. In that way, my father never has to know that I actually had this transaction. Easy peasy? Yeah, so much that I thought so. The next day, I executed this whole plan. 3 months down the line, I get a call from my dad and he says, "Where on earth have you spent 20,000 bucks? Well, actually the thing is, I kind of fell in love more than once. And I never got around replacing Bagger's money. This phase of my life is called the lonely phase. Whenever I would get very lonely, I would just go and buy some clothes. Fast forward 3 years down the line. And here I was, outside Sainsbury's store. I just came to buy a packet of milk. And I was going in, and by now I had matured. I don't buy clothes all the time. I do serious shopping, like grocery shopping. So I went with the intention of buying a bottle of milk. And then I noticed some cookies. Yeah, like cookies are very good with milk. They taste really good. Actually, I should get some of them. But not just cookies and milk. Maybe I should get a packet of chips. Maybe some Doritos. Maybe some chips. Maybe I can have a party. Yeah, I think I'll have a party. Maybe I'll get a packet of ice cream. Yeah, that's a good plan. So ultimately, I went to buy 2 pounds milk and I came out with a 20-pound grocery. But this is not an expenditure. It is an investment. You need to make such investment. You need to throw parties. Come on. Well, a week later, the investment was rotting in my fridge, very unattended. I had completely forgotten about it. That phase of my life is called stress. Whenever I would be bogged down with assignments, timelines, or deadlines, I would do some grocery shopping. Like that, in my life, I had many other phases, like the depression, like lack of control, especially when you start working and you have no control of things happening around you. So I would do some sort of shopping. Obviously, the items would vary, but shopping would be very constant. Well, I know for most of the men in this room, I'm just another woman who finds an excuse to do shopping. Actually, when I thought the same. Until one day, I actually read a book called Confessions of a Shopaholic. I was so scared after reading that book. No, it wasn't a scary book. I was just scared because I resembled the lead character so much. I also rationalize every time I have to do a shopping. So what did I do? I read up on it. Clinically, this whole symptom is called oniomania. It means the need for compulsive buying, shopping, and in layman's term, it's called shopaholism. So basically, the individual is like any other addict, like an alcoholic, or a smoker, or a substance abuser, or a drug addict. So as a result, what they do is, like a shopaholic would, in order to fill a void in their life, would actually compensate it with a shopping trip. And this is usually triggered by a negative emotion, like depression, loneliness, anxiety, stress, etc. So in order to do this, when I realized that I have a problem, I tried to play some tricks with myself, just in order to fool that I don't have money. I got a recurring deposit in place so that I don't have money in my account. On the first day of a month, my money vanishes away from my account and I don't have access to anything. Second thing I do, I never use a credit card. I always use a debit card. Thirdly, I try to maintain an extremely exhaustive log of all my expenses so that I know where my money is actually going. Fourth, I never go shopping alone. I always take someone who will initiate a debate whether this expense is actually necessary. And most importantly, fill the void. Join an NGO or a social club or play some sport. Well, it's not that I have totally become a non-shopaholic. I still go on these binging trips, and like any shopaholic, you will have a shopping binge, and then you will get into this whole guilt that you shop too much, and then the vicious circle sets in. So what I do is, I know I will shop, so I set amount that I will shop on. Once my father had actually said, "Don't you ever get tired of shopping?" To which I said, "Of course I do. That's when I sit down and try new shoes." Anyway, over to you.